Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new malicious compliance stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
First one is titled, My House, in the Middle of the Street. When I pay my mortgage, I round up and divide in half. I pay half every other week. So my mortgage got picked up by another company when my mortgage company went out of business. To do what I was doing with the new company was $300 to enroll and an extra $40 each payment. Oh hell no. I spoke to my credit union and they had an auto pay that would pay my bills from my direct deposit free. So nearly a year goes by and I get one of those scary letters, you are in default on your mortgage. Unless we get X payment within 10 days of this letter we will foreclose. I was astounded since I had never missed a payment and was actually paid a couple of months ahead. I spoke with their accounting department. It seems they couldn't accept half payments, only full payments, even though they had done so for years, so the money had to sit unapplied until a full payment was accrued. That made sense, except again, they got more than enough and it was always in there in full before the due date. So on the due date they should have just taken it and applied it to the mortgage. So further digging, the rep says to me, oh by the way, we have $8,200 of unapplied funds in this account. What do you want to do with it? Pay my mortgage with it? Oh, we can't do that. So I had to get a check cut for $8,200, pay $45 for them to overnight it to me, take it to my credit union, cash it, pay $25 for a cashier's check, and pay another $45 to send the cashier's check back to them. I called relentlessly to see when it had arrived and had all kinds of postal tracking, signature confirmation, etc. Remember, I only had 10 days to get this crap straight. So they get it and verify that it is applied to my mortgage and that there will be no foreclosure. The rep tells me, well, your next payment is due in 2 weeks and there will be penalties and late fees applied, so the amount is XYZ and we are raising your interest rate to nearly twice what it was before. No, all this is your company's fault. She says, you knew these were the terms and conditions when you took out your mortgage with us. No, I didn't take it out with you, I took it out with another company and I was assigned to your company. Well, don't be late with the next payment. No, I want to speak with a manager. So I finally get to speak to a manager and he wasn't much better. His only response, well, you can always go with another company, but good luck with that these days, so many foreclosures and your credit is not very good from missing so many payments. So I decided to take his advice. I contacted my credit union, explained everything, showed them their own payment transfers, and the mortgage statements showing the other company had received the money bi-weekly like clockwork, and the credit union took over my mortgage. I got a reduced interest rate and killed all the fees, penalties, and got the overpayment back. I applied it to the new mortgage payments, etc. So when a company acts like they have you over a barrel and tells you to try to go with someone else, do it. Edit. This still astounds me even after all these years. I can't imagine any other company like car loan, credit card company, etc. asking, hey, what do you want us to do with all this money sitting over here, and not automatically concluding, oh yeah, let's apply it to the outstanding balance. Next one is titled, I'm not the one to tell people how to spend their money. Hello, first of all I wanted to make it clear that English is not my first language. I am from Argentina, so if there is any mistake, blame the translator. Some background, I work in a home parts store, for washing machines, ovens, showers, all that kind of thing, so we know quite well the operation of all these devices and we usually stop to explain and solve all the doubts that a client who cannot or does not want to hire a gas operator has. And in general they are usually grateful. Many times they come looking for a piece that despite being worth some money are not inaccessible, but we go from crisis to crisis, so most are very grateful when we test the device and it works, but it is not always like that. In this case it is a person who came to change the thermostat and the resistance of a hot water tank. As usual we test everything and despite not being in the best conditions due to scale, a problem we have with the water where I live, everything works fine. But this person insists that this is the problem with his water heater when we are showing him that clearly both parts work perfectly. He does not care, he insists that we sell him the new parts, and I will not be the one to tell people how to spend their money. I tell them the price that would be around 18,000 pesos, about 200 United States dollars, and even though this is the most expensive type, they swipe their card and pay it. Not even 2 hours pass before he come back demanding that we return their money because what we sold him clearly does not work. We are surprised, so we tested it and it works perfectly, so we flatly refuse to return the money. In all cases where the error is ours, we return the money. He retires furiously and never returns. It is an anticlimactic ending, but that is what happened. In the end, he lost a crap ton of money for not giving a crap about a good advice. Next one is titled, "Wanna Mess With My Hours? I've got a bone to pick with you." So, in 2012, I found myself working as an overnight maintenance laborer for a family-owned collection of properties, 2 shopping complex, a winery, a few warehouses, etc. But most of the time, I was working keeping a grocery store built in the late 60s functioning. Worked my way up to night maintenance manager and loved my job. I was getting the kind of education you can't buy, hands-on electrical one night, plumbing the next, welding after that. All taught to me by 3 men that could build a house, up to code, single-handedly. And we all got along great. It was the first time in my adult life I had real responsibilities, and I was respecting myself because I respected the job I was doing. The owners were all people that truly cared about their employees, and they proved this when, in 2017, they sold the main grocery store. One of the many things they included in the sale was all current employees had to be offered a new position at their current pay level. The company that bought us, I won't say their name but think the opposite of dangerous path, does not employ an in-house maintenance team. Something breaks, they outsource the fixing of it. So they really didn't have a ready-made place for me to fit into like the other department managers. The store manager also did not like that I was making $18 an hour, $6 over a new hire rate. Thus began the systematic, what I saw as harassment, and what has been later confirmed to me as the standard operating procedure for legally getting rid of someone at this company. Some of my faves include making my 35-year-old butt a bag boy. Joke's on you, I love doing easy work for good money. Writing me up for spending 20 minutes talking to the police about an accident I had seen while returning carts. I thoroughly enjoyed the district manager apologizing to me for that. Cutting my hours down from full-time to 24 hours a week, which is completely allowable, but as the second most senior member in the store, everyone below me has to get their hours cut first. No, you can't force me to take a salaried manager's position. Yes, you can make me a cashier, a position you know I do not want, but you have to give me the $3 pay bump. And on and on and on. In addition to the many broken verbal promises and out-and-out lies, I became very well versed on the union rules, my specific contract rules, and how to protect myself. 7 union arbitrations in my first 5 months, all ended in my favor. Meanwhile, the assistant managers love me. I can cover any department because I've done most everything and I'm a quick learner for what I don't know. Anything breaks down in the store, it was falling apart before they bought it. If I can't fix it, I can at the very least make a detailed work request so it gets fixed sooner. I become the go-to cover guy, filling in any position that needs it. Which at long last brings me to my malicious compliance. The store was not doing well, sales-wise. About a year and a half in, they couldn't get a closing butcher. So, the night manager taps me to work in the meat department for 3 hours every night just to close it out and clean it up. In the department, there is a bone saw that's used for cutting meat with bones in it. It's a pain in the butt to clean, so after reading the department manual I realized you were not to use that piece of equipment if you hadn't been trained on it. Now I 100% had been trained on that bone saw. I knew how to take it apart, fix it and put it back together. But the training was with the old company and I had been informed many times that the new company only thought I'd been trained when they had trained me. Perfect. I can close down the bone saw earlier and get it cleaned. If any customer needs me to cut meat with a bone in it, I inform them that I hadn't been trained on that piece of equipment. Shouldn't be an issue, this is late night and the store's not doing that well begin with. I clear all this with the assistant manager. This goes on for months until finally I'm called into the manager's office during the day. Turns out one of the customers I had informed that I could not use the bone saw was a secret shopper. The store manager is writing me up for failure to complete my duties. She's also writing it up as malicious failure. I forget the term they use. It's basically 2 write-ups instead of just 1, and that coupled up with my previous write-up, I was 15 minutes late once, that's on me, gives her the 3 write-ups she needs to fire me. As I have done so many times in the past with this woman, I invoke my right to union representation and decline to talk with her until after I've spoken with them. At this point I'm thinking, they can't bust me, I was following the written directions, but oh no. It got so much sweeter and so much worse. While talking to my union rep, it quickly becomes clear that the butchers are a completely different union. The store is in violation of the butchers' union contract by having a non-union employee work that department. So first my union fights the write-up, wins and gets me paid for the 4-5 days I missed work. They then get me a lawyer who tells me I am not to speak with any store manager in any capacity, due to the butchers' union complaint against the store. 2 weeks off, fully paid. For me, I can't very well work at a store where I cannot speak to my bosses. I then get 2 more days off paid while I speak to the various union reps for my testimony. The store is fined $50,000 is what I was told, for breach of butcher's contract. When I return to work, my store manager does not work there anymore. Her replacement only accepts the job if his bonuses are not tied to the store's overall performance, so he doesn't mind I'm overpaid. As icing on the cake, no one really liked her, so I'm damn near a hero when I get back. Last one is titled, "Come in thinking you know best? Let's just take you down a notch or 6. I've worked for a call center for about 10 years, worked my way up to management level. We've always been given a lot of autonomy to handle issues within our departments, so long as we document everything and follow established guidelines, no making up rules, no firing someone for breaking a rule that you let slide for someone else, etc. I've always prided myself on being a good manager and having a low turnover rate. I try to take care of my people and give chance after chance for someone to make necessary corrections, but unfortunately, I do have to terminate employment somewhat regularly. About 3 months ago, my center got a new manager, Harry. Harry had plenty of call center management experience and looked great on paper. He had big ideas and wanted to help create a more positive and fun culture in the office. I'm all for it. The job is draining, especially for the reps on the phones, so anything we can do to boost morale is a huge plus in my book. Straight off the bat, Harry was a bit standoffish to me. I chalked it up to shyness, kept about my business, and figured we'd warm up as we got to know each other. I was incorrect. It may be important to note that while the office was without a senior manager, a lot of those responsibilities fell to me. I was the most senior and most tenured manager at the site, but I didn't want the site manager position on a permanent basis. Before Harry got there, any issues that needed to be handled, maintenance requests, facilities issues, dole requests, a higher up who needs to step in to assist another manager with an employee incident, you name it, fell to me. I was more than happy to step back and let Harry take the reins, but of course, made myself available to assist during the transition. One thing my reps will tell you, I am strict but I am fair. If you mess up, I'm going to tell you and coach you on how to fix it, but I'm not going to be breathing down your neck. I enforce the same rules for everyone. If you're having a bad day, you can come to talk to me about it. If your car breaks down and you're screwed on transport, I'll adjust your schedule and try to help you figure something out. I truly understand that I can't do my job if I don't have reps who are willing to come to work and do theirs, so I try very hard to support them in any appropriate way possible. On Harry's second or third week, we had a rep who had been an NCNS, no call, no show, for about 5 days. Our company policy allows 2 before termination. Because I knew of this rep's situation, I held off on the term and tried to reach out to make sure everything was okay. To be quite honest, we rarely actually term at 2, we usually give at least 3 before the term is processed, sometimes because it takes us until the 3rd day to catch it. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make contact. I knew he was physically safe and healthy because some of his friends worked there and told me he was just not answering us. I assumed that he had found another position and just not bothered to tell us, not an uncommon occurrence, sad to say. I processed the termination as job abandonment on day 5 of NCNS. Day 6, the rep turns up and is surprised and angry that he can't log in. I'd let Harry know about the situation from day 3, and alerted him as soon as the rep came in on day 6. I pulled the rep into Harry's office and asked him if everything was okay, and why he hadn't been at work or called us in about a week. The following is a paraphrased conversation that we had. Me, we haven't heard from you since X, and you haven't been to work since Y because our policy assumes job abandonment after 2 no-call no-shows. We've actually processed a termination for you. Rep, I was busy. Me, I understand that things happen, and I'm glad to know you're doing okay, but it's your responsibility to contact us if you're going to miss work. We even tried contacting you a few times before processing the term but never heard back. Rep, I got your message, I was busy. I'm here now. Me, I understand, but again, we have to follow the procedure. We had no way of knowing whether you intended to return because you never contacted us. Your employment has been terminated. I have termination paperwork, including signed handbook acknowledgement with NCNS policy highlighted and signed attendance policy, available for you. Rep, wow, y'all stupid. I was obviously coming back. Let me just go log into my phone before I say something out of pocket. I'm done with this conversation. Me, unfortunately you can't log into your phone, as you are no longer employed here. Here is your paperwork. From there, the rep got loud and started cursing. I remained calm and kept repeating that he was no longer employed and needed to leave. During this entire conversation, Harry said not one word. I eventually got the rep to leave, and as soon as he was out of the building, Harry asked to speak with me. Harry, the way you handled that was extremely unprofessional. You should have let him back. Now he's going to talk badly about us and we'll have a horrible reputation. Me, I'm sorry. I'm confused. I followed the policy. I gave him the opportunity to show us he contacted us. He said he never did. We're supposed to term after 2, I gave him 5. Harry, but he came back. If this is the way you were running the center before me, no wonder your turnover rate is so high. You can't run people off. Yal, I was heated. First of all, I was running the site by myself for 3 months. It's 500 people. Secondly, I fail to see how someone else disappearing for 5 days and then not being allowed back constitutes me running them off. Thirdly, our turnover rate was lower at that point in time than it had been in over a year. I said, all right, I'm not sure how this situation is me running someone off, but fine. Please let me know which policies you'd like me to enforce and which ones I should ignore, and walked out. Probably not the smartest move, but I needed to get out of that room. I took a quick break to control my temper and went back to my computer. Sitting on top of my inbox was a message from Harry to all management. Effective immediately, all employee terminations must be cleared through Harry last name. Any manager who terminates the employment of a representative without proper authorization will face disciplinary action. This includes termination for job abandonment. Any write-ups must be performed with senior management as witness. Cool. I got you, Harry. Cue malicious compliance. I had a stack of attendance write-ups on my desk that I had been planning to perform with another junior manager. I sent an email to Harry and requested 60 minutes of his time to witness write-ups with me. I have 108 employees in my department, about 20 needed to be written up. He asked for the documentation, which I provided. He then sent me an email that said, "These are not authorized. Request denied." Awesome. I moved on with my day. Now, Harry gets a bonus if all departments meet billable hours each month. I'm not supposed to know this, but being at the company for so long, I hear a lot of things I shouldn't because they forget I'm not an executive team member. It's my job as the manager of my department to ensure we meet those hours. What's the best way to ensure we meet billable hours? Hold people accountable for their attendance. What's the best way to hold people accountable for their attendance? Write them up for their excessive infractions, terminate the ones who refuse to resolve the issues, and replace with a new class. Harry just took that power away from me. We missed billable hours in September. In the first week of October, I requested another hour of Harry's time to review attendance with the reps and perform write-ups. He denied it again. Our attendance was atrocious at this point, as reps knew there would be no consequences for missing work. In October, we missed billable hours and didn't meet some of our contractually obligated service levels, so my company had to give a credit on the bill. Enter November. I request another attendance write-up meeting. I am again denied. I send an email with the reps that have not shown up for work for 5+ days, some of them more than 10 days, and request to terminate them so a new class can be added. I am denied. At this point, the last week of November, our executive team is up in arms and wants to know why we've failed for the last 2 months and projected to fail this month. Harry has a meeting with them about how management ReadingBear I is creating a hostile environment and morale in the center is low. I am unaware of this meeting until I get an email setting up a call with our CEO and my direct executive manager, not Harry, to discuss my department. Remember, I've been here 10 years. These people have known me since I was a teenager and know my work ethic and standards. CEO, what's going on down there? You guys have been missing numbers left and right. That's not you. Me, I agree. We're having a major issue with attendance and haven't been able to fix it. It's affecting our staffing levels. Exec, what do you mean? You've been at a steady 108 since September. Are you scheduling correctly? Are you checking reports to adjust? Me, our official headcount is 108, but in reality, we're only at 84, with 10 of those reps working 20 hours or fewer each week. CEO, what? How is that possible? Exec, what do you mean? Why haven't you asked for an attrition class? Me, I have been following the new policy that all terminations or new class requests must be approved by Harry. He has not given me approval for either. Exec, new policy? Me, yes, I can forward you the notification we received. I've requested terminations and classes so that we can report the true headcount and fix the service level issues, but I haven't gotten any requests approved. CEO, please forward the notification and any communication immediately. We'll follow up with you shortly. I forwarded the email from Harry, and every time I've requested write-up meetings, termination approval, or new hire classes and gotten denied. The exec called me a short while later and asked me to give her a full rundown. She said she would take care of it. The next morning, all managers, about 20 of us, including the executive team, were invited to a mandatory meeting. We were told in no uncertain terms that any policy changes would come directly from the CEO and that effective immediately we all had the authority to write up and terminate employees as appropriate. I was given the authority to request an attrition class immediately. Harry was asked, in front of all of us, to remain on the line with the executives while the rest of us got off. A short while later, the managers received emails that our bonus policy was changing. We would each be receiving bonuses based on meeting billable hours. Remember that bonus Harry was getting? Yeah, they took it away from him and gave it to us. Guess who made billable hours for December? Every single department. Turns out, when you let people do their jobs and give them an incentive for doing it well, they care about the work they're doing. Thanks for listening.